Criminal in nature.
Williams is referring to the scandal involving Ann Squires and her company Exit on the Rock. She's been charged with theft, and Ellsworth is alleged to have lent Squires money at illegally high interest rates. Williams doesn't believe that Ellsworth should be making decisions about development in St. John's.
We have him basically involved allegedly in loaning money to developers in the city, while at the same time he sits on the other side of the table and adjudicates and decides what developments are good and what ones are bad. So if he favours one in the East End, well then he's not favouring one in the West End. There's something very seriously wrong and troubling with that.
In court documents, Ellsworth denies that he's made illegal loans, and now he's defending his decision to release Williams' letter.
So it wasn't something I did knee-jerk, and I fully understood that when I raised an issue that he didn't like, he would be guns a-blazing, coming after me, both barrels, anything he can raise, anything he can detract from this conversation. I will stick to the topic that we're talking about, and that is developers paying for development costs of their projects.
Ellsworth believes Williams is trying to set a precedent with a $100,000 roundabout, so the city will also be on the hook for millions of dollars to widen the Trans-Canada Highway and build an overpass to Galway. The city says it's made its decision, and Danny Williams' company Ducor should pay for the roundabout at the gates of Galway. But Danny Williams says it's not over yet. He says he expects a response to the letter that was released at City Council last night. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, this whole kerfuffle about a roundabout near Galway has a lot of people talking today, and in about 30 minutes we'll hear more of Danny Williams' argument for why the city should help with the costs, and we'll hear from Ron Ellsworth as well.
Now that the West White Rose extension is sanctioned, that means the port of Argentia will be bustling, and community leaders couldn't be happier. Here Now's Terry Roberts visited the area today, and here's his report.
I'm on the north side of Argentia, beautiful Placentia Bay off in the distance. Now it's very quiet here today, but it won't be for long. Just look behind me, a 50-acre site, 24-hour security. The most important feature of this site is barely visible. It's essentially a hole in the ground. It's called a graving dock. It's here where Husky will build a 140-meter concrete gravity structure over the next 4 years. At peak construction, there will be 800 workers on this site. It's a major coup for the port of Argentia.
Beyond this one particular project, which is great in itself, we don't get too many mega projects knocking, and so we're very happy to play host to this one. But it also gives us the opportunity to now showcase Argentia and the great potential that we always have known that it has, and we've been working on for many years to demonstrate to the industries that we can provide a site for just this kind of activities.
In 4 years' time, the CGS will be floated out of here, towed to the Grand Banks, where it will be mated with the topsides and begin producing oil for about 25 years. Newhook believes this is just the beginning for Argentia.
It certainly is the beginning for us. We believe we've got a very bright future here. This is a site that the Americans identified many years ago as a tremendous asset for naval activity in those days, but now we're converting it to heavy industrial activity and marine activity. And we see with us being able to demonstrate a successful outcome from this major project, the opportunity for others to see that potential and to be able to use it in the future.
This oil construction project is going to bring significant economic benefits to this town. Restaurants, retail, housing, it's all going to boom over the next 4 years. This longtime business and community leader sums it up this way.
It's the biggest injection into the community, in the economy of the community since World War II, since the Yanks came. And then we had Urco and more recently Valet, but this one is more direct. And from my understanding from the agreement, local people won't be barred from getting jobs there like they were in Valet and Long Harbour and other places. And it's going to just bring a pile of people, a pile of money into the community.
This $100 million hole in the ground could help steer this region's economic fortunes in a very positive direction for a long time to come. With Husky discovering more oil in the White Rose field, there could very well be more wellhead platforms in the future. Terry Roberts, CBC News, Placentia.
Marijuana in the workplace was the topic at a busy seminar in St. John's today. Around 50 businesses took part in the event hosted by the St. John's Board of Trade. Sharon Horan is the founder of Fit for Work, the company that led the seminar. She says with marijuana legislation only a year away, employers need to start making decisions now.
Safety is a big concern in everybody's workplace, and particularly in a lot of the industries that we have here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And what we know is that when legalization happened in other jurisdictions, there was a significant increase in the usage in the regular population. So employers are wondering, how are we going to make sure that employees are in fact safe to perform their duties when they show up for work?
Another big challenge created by marijuana legislation is catching drug-impaired drivers. It's much harder than catching drunk drivers simply because there's no breathalyzer for marijuana. Here now, Zach Gowdy's been looking into this. He joins me now. So Zach, why is it so much harder to create a device that detects marijuana the way a breathalyzer detects alcohol?
Well, certainly many companies are trying. There are already 8 U.S. states where marijuana is legal, and Canada is expected to join them around this time next year. So there's a huge market for such a device, and some are already being tested by police departments, including the RCMP in this province. The problem is that, as of yet, none of these devices has been proven to work 100% of the time with 100% accuracy, and that standard has to be met before they can be used in criminal cases. But even as the technology improves, there are other barriers to implementing these devices. For example, a saliva swab may not detect if a person has ingested edible marijuana. Also, heavy users of marijuana may always have detectable levels of marijuana in their system, even when they haven't recently consumed the drug. So for these reasons and many more, Debbie, it's a tough nut to crack.
So how do police determine if a person is driving while high?
Well, it's the job of trained drug recognition evaluators. Now, these are police officers who have undergone highly specialized training to detect the physical signs of drug impairment. Of course, people are already driving while high on marijuana and countless other drugs. But with marijuana legalization just around the corner, these drug recognition evaluators are about to get a lot busier. So here's a look at how the job is done.
Generally, there's 4 or 5 components to an impaired driving investigation. First off, we would have to have a reason to believe that somebody was operating their vehicle while impaired. So it could be a call from the public indicating that the driver was driving erratically. It could be at a roadside checkpoint, or it could be at a motor vehicle accident. So we would have to have a reason to have an interaction with the person.
What are people like when they're in this room?
We have vast responses to people being charged with impaired driving. Again, it would depend on how much alcohol they have, or as we're going to talk about today, how much drugs. So it would depend on what type of drug or medication. At roadside, if I suspect that somebody has consumed marijuana, whether it's a fresh odor or a stale odor, sometimes we'll see marijuana debris in the vehicle. Certainly some signs in their eyes, such as dilated pupils, reddened eyes. I would do a standardized field sobriety test, and that consists of 3 batteries of tests, we'll say. One is an eye evaluation, in which I determine how your eyes react to a certain stimulus and how I move that stimulus.
2, 3.
The other 2 tests that would be conducted at roadside would be a walk and turn and a one-leg stand. Those are divided attention tests or psychophysical tests.
1011, 1012.
And the premise behind it is that we ask you to do multiple things at the same time, right? I think everybody can agree that when you're operating a motor vehicle, you have to be able to multitask or do more than one thing at a time, whether it's steer, change lanes, accelerate, brake. At the end of the evaluation, I have to make a determination, A, if the person is impaired, B, which category the suspect is impaired by. Then we would actually do a demand for a urine sample. And I've had evaluations come back, or urinalysis come back, where people have had up to 16 different drugs in their system. We're not fishing for evidence. We're not making things up. This is a standardized program. Every drug recognition evaluator does the evaluation the same way. The same criteria has to be met, whether it's in Canada, the United States, they're using it in Australia, in the UK, we've trained people in China as well. So as long as everybody is doing the same thing, then the subjectivity is taken away.
Well, a St. John's woman who is waiting to go to trial on a charge of first-degree murder admitted today that she threatened the children of a nurse at the Waterford Hospital. 29-year-old Ann Norris was in court on charges unrelated to the death of Marcel Reardon. His body was found outside an apartment building in the city last year. Norris was later charged with killing him. Here Now's Cease Hare reports on why she was back in court today.
Ann Norris was in court today for offenses that happened before Marcel Reardon was killed. 2 years ago, in May, she was a voluntary patient at the Waterford Hospital, and she threatened to harm the children of a nurse. The court heard that Norris yelled to the nurse, "I know you have 3 boys, and when I get out of here, I swear I'm coming for every single one of them." Later that day, in the parking lot of the lockup, Norris tried to run away. She struggled with the arresting police officer and guards. And for those incidents, she pleaded guilty to uttering threats and resisting arrest. As well, Norris pleaded guilty today to another charge. It was for breaching an undertaking, drinking in a bar in Mount Pearl last year when she was under a court order not to. This happened just weeks before Marcel Reardon was killed. Cease Hare, CBC News, St. John's.
That dead humpback whale that washed ashore just over a week ago is still causing a major headache for the town of Logie Bay Middle Cove, Outer Cove. The carcass has been drifting back into the water today, but it is still floating close to the shoreline. The town's Mayor John Kennedy is hoping the winds and shifting tides will move the whale back to sea and away from Outer Cove Beach. Kennedy says town council explored all options to get rid of the whale, including bringing it to the Robin Hood Bay dump to be buried, but the landfill refuses to take it. Kennedy says the town contacted Transport Canada but received no help.
Well, here's an Alberta woman who has definitely come a long way from BC all the way to Newfoundland. Sarah Jackson has become the first woman to finish the Trans-Canada Trail. Reporter Peggy Lamb has the story.
24-year-old Sarah Jackson just finished something most of us wouldn't even think of doing. She's the first woman to walk the entire Trans-Canada Trail, a network of recreational pathways that connects across the country. She started in Victoria, BC, and hopes to sleep in St. John's for tonight. How does it feel to finish something like this?
I'm trying not to let it sink in too much because I think I would be a little bit overly emotional. I'd been kind of feeling ready, I think, to wrap up. It's been 2 years of my life, but the closer I get to the finish, I think the less I want to take my boots off of the trail.
Jackson says she loves waking up in a different location each morning. She's been invited to stay at people's homes across Canada and has even camped the rest of the way. Asked if she felt safe doing the trek as a woman, she says she uses a beacon locator to ensure that people know where she's at all times.
I feel so fortunate to have had the really positive experiences that I've had, but I'm not naive enough to believe that that's the same for everyone.
Jackson says this experience has changed her life.
I think it's definitely grown my confidence in a lot of ways. There's not a lot that feels unattainable because of personal limitations, I think, now.
She's been joined by many friends and family on the way.
Just really proud of her. She's done awesome. It's really exciting. I think we have lots of family out for the end of it, and that's super exciting for her, and yeah, just very proud.
So Sarah Jackson has just completed over 11,000 kilometers worth of walking. Tomorrow, she'll be completing the trail to Cape Spear. And after that, she says she's looking forward to spending time with her grandparents back home in Edmonton. Peggy Lamb, CBC News, Conception Bay South.
Fentanyl is believed to be the cause of a string of recent overdoses, and that's at the heart of a CBC NL special production tonight. The details after the break.
Council in St. John's is favoring the east end of the city over the west end, according to former Premier and developer Danny Williams. He'll explain why he feels that way later in the program. She's known as one of the most powerful women in Britain. St. John's native Moya Green is the CEO of Britain's postal service, the storied Royal Mail. Green's career path took her from the echelons of Canada's public service, banking and business to her job in London.
I know you are all fiercely intelligent, but now with this background, you can be intelligently fierce.
Green was back in St. John's this week to receive an honorary doctorate from Memorial University. Tomorrow on Here and Now, Moya Green's reflections on her career, what motivates her, and her message to young women.
This weather update is brought to you by the Take Charge Business Efficiency Program. Over 400 businesses have saved energy and taken charge of their bottom line. Find out how you can too.
Well, welcome back. And before I give you a bird's eye view of the weather, let me give you a bird's eye view of an osprey that has attracted the attention of the folks at Newfoundland Power. You might ask, why is an electricity company interested in these birds of prey? Well, at least one osprey is nesting near the Virginia Water substation on Snows Lane, just outside St. John's. And to protect it, the company has set up a special platform. And once that platform was in place, workers decided, hey, why not run a live video stream so the public can have a peek at these birds as they go about their daily bird business.
Actually, this is a live shot, as you can see, and there was another osprey who just left momentarily, or just a moment ago. But anyway, the osprey nest cam is what you're looking at, and you can see it by going to Newfoundland Power's website. The address is there on your screen, and that's where you'll find a link.
Yeah, and it's apparently the first osprey camera in the province, and Newfoundland Power says these kinds of specialized platforms provide nesting sites for protected species like the osprey. And by the way, there are currently 3 eggs in the nest underneath. I don't know if it's mom or dad.
No.
You can see a little bit of the egg, I think, just around the top there.
Nice.
Anyway, we'll have to be checking in on
Absolutely.
the birds
Nice
of
to see them
prey.
hatch.
Yeah. Beautiful day for basking in the sun. And it's been a while since we had a day like this. In fact, this is the warmest day all the way back to last fall in St. John's.
wow.
And have a look at this month that has been at St. John's. All of the days colored in blue for this month of May are below seasonal temperatures. The days in orange are, of course, near or above average. Have a look how many weekend days we had above average. 1. The rest of the weekends all below average, and many 3-4 degree days there as well. 15 today, possibly 16 tomorrow. But yeah, it has been a rough month. And by the way, no matter the temperature tomorrow, it'll have to be warmer than 20 degrees, and if it is not warmer than 20 degrees, then it's going to be finishing in the top 5 for coldest Mays on record at St. John's YYT. So yes, quite a run for those temperature, quite a run for May, a memorable one for all the wrong reasons, and we will again be finishing in the top 5 for coldest Mays at St. John's YYT with a high of 16 on the menu for tomorrow. Corner Brook topping out at 17 today. You can see we're Badger towards 19 degrees in Deer Lake, 20 in Churchill Falls, 22 degrees in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Second straight day at 20 degrees there, and we are looking at 18 in Badger right now, still 22 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. And note the winds, a little southeasterly, so still a bit of a sea breeze in St. John's, but that is about to change as we roll into tomorrow. There'll be less of a sea breeze with a bit of a west-southwesterly flow coming in around this area of high pressure. Off to the west, watching this low pressure system moving in over Hudson Bay and James Bay. That's been throwing some showers all the way up into the Labrador City region. We're going to continue to increase the cloud cover across Labrador for tonight, and the chance of a shower for late day tomorrow in Happy Valley Goose Bay. We're dry into tomorrow morning for everywhere except for Labrador City, where we've got some showers. The island starts fantastic, though note the fog that will be along that south coast for tomorrow with those onshore west-southwest winds. Starting the day 3 to as warm as 4 degrees for most of the island for tomorrow. Also in Gander, likely starting near 4, 7 degrees for a start in Labrador City. And note as we roll throughout the day tomorrow, again, those showers, a chance into the afternoon. Happy Valley, Goose Bay towards the Straits, a late day risk as well, but I think for the most part we're dry through the day tomorrow. Corner Brook and the west coast, we'll start to see some of that high cloud cover roll in. Again, it's fog in the morning along that south coast. That will retreat to the coastline into the afternoon. A little bit more in the way of clouds, though, through the day. 14 to that should be actually 16 for CBS, St. John's, and towards Bay Roberts. Clarenville near 18 tomorrow, looking at 16 in the Marystown region. Again, a bit of fog will retreat to the coast through the morning hours. Harbour Breton near 8 degrees tomorrow, but St. Albans likely topping out around 15 to 16 degrees tomorrow. And as warm as 20 to 21 degrees for Gander and Grand Falls, Windsor tomorrow. Again, lots of fog along that south coast in the morning. That retreats to the coast in the morning, and then we are looking at that high cloud starting to roll in. 18 degrees in Corner Brook tomorrow. Fog through the Strait of Belle Isle tomorrow, but another day with a southwest wind will help again to push that pack ice back out to the North Atlantic. Temperatures ranging from 6 in the Strait to 18 in Marys Harbour tomorrow. There are those showers, Churchill Falls. Chance of a shower up towards the Happy Valley, Goose Bay region, as I mentioned, but the best chance is certainly in the west with sun along the north coast. Long range details walking you into June coming up. Debbie?
Thanks, Ryan. Tonight, CBC is holding a live discussion on treating opioid addiction. It's been 1 month since health officials confirmed a cluster of overdoses believed to be related to fentanyl. One person has died. Here now's Ariana Kellen's been following this story, and she's joining us live. So, Ariana, what's the plan for tonight?
Well, I'm here in the Gathering Place in downtown St. John's, and this is where we'll be moderating a live discussion on opioid addiction. We'll have the health minister and addictions experts. And as you've been seeing all in the news in the past month, the province is dealing with an opioid problem. Now, I did speak with one police officer who has been dealing with the rise of fentanyl and investigating some of those cases. Here is just some of what Sergeant Steve Knight had to say.
Right now, we have a lot of cocaine on the streets, and prescription pills has taken off quite a bit. The heroin, the fentanyl aspect is relatively new, and of course when something new comes into play and you have a lot of media attention around it, it gathers information. But basically over the years, things have changed. Many years ago we had an OxyContin problem, and that's stepping into more now where the prescription drug problem is. We have a large amount of people in this province that are misusing legal medications, and that's a problem.
Would you compare the situation that's happening now with fentanyl to OxyContin when you talk about the magnitude of the number of people it could reach and hurt?
Yeah, I do have concerns for it. These people bring in this particular drug in and they're selling it as something else. People don't know what they're taking, so it's a hit and miss situation, and the overdoses are happening, we believe, and every reason to believe that it's being sold as heroin, but in actual fact it's fentanyl, or it has really poor quality heroin mixed in with fentanyl. So we are concerned with what we've seen in the OxyContin era sort of thing, and we're just moving into something like that now. We have concerns for people's well-being.
So do you believe this is the beginning of something here, or do you think it's going to peter off?
I'm not sure. I'm hoping someday it'll peter off and people will see that this is a dangerous drug and they don't want to be around it. But time will tell. As this is certainly brought to the forefront in our province, it's been an alarming time for many people. But I think that we're putting training measures in place. We currently have an officer right now in BC. We had one in 2 weeks ago in BC doing training in relation to what these officers with a lot of experience in the west coast of Canada are seeing. So they're out there now gaining this experience to bring back to our province to better assist us in training our officers, both the RNC and the RCMP, and the best practices and safest ways we can deal with these type of drugs.
Have any of your officers had any close calls when it comes to fentanyl?
No, but I will say that a couple of weeks ago here at police headquarters, a person was being brought in for what they call the drug recognition expert, basically impaired driving by way of drug, and that person had overdosed on fentanyl, and then we had our officers use the Narcan kit to revive this individual and call paramedics, and this person, well, thank God, is now in good health, my understanding is.
Now in 20 minutes, we'll be joined by Joanne Thompson and Karen O'Connell of The Gathering Place, and they'll be talking about what they see on the front lines. And if you want to get in on the conversation following Here and Now, go on our Facebook page and you can leave a comment or a question. That's facebook.com/CBCNL. Reporting live for Here and Now, I'm Ariana Kelland in St. John's.
She has a place to call her own now and is getting back on her feet. But after the break, we'll have the story of how this young woman went from a rural family home to being homeless in St. John's. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, when you think about the word homeless, what comes to mind? Do you think about people who sleep on a bench or panhandle on the street corner? The homeless have many different faces. Last year, 38 young people were classified as homeless in St. John's. Well, tonight, we'll take a look at the life of one of those people, Johnny Lynn Keynes from Fortune. She spoke with Here and Now's Megan McCabe about her struggles with homelessness and how she found hope.
You're 17, about to finish high school, tied to your family and your close-knit community. But anxiety and depression are taking over and you just can't cope. What do? For Johnny Lynn Keynes, you hop on a bus from Fortune to St. John's with nowhere to go.
Sometimes I don't know what's going on around me.
Sometimes I don't know that I'm a human. And for me, like, when that happens, like, I need to go to the hospital. I need to, like, be brought back to reality.
Keynes was desperate, hoping the city's supports could save her. She came to St. John's for Choices for Youth, but it's been a long, rough 4 years. Now she says the organization saved her life, with daily sessions, a job here at Your Turn secondhand clothing shop, and her first stable home. It just meant leaving her family 4 hours away, a heart-wrenching decision she made with her mom.
It was very serious. We had to go back home. Mental health wasn't looked at the same as it is now. I decided on January 18th that I was going to leave, and the 19th I hopped on a bus and came in here to the homeless shelter. The shelter was a little bit crazy. It was hard for me to get used to a shelter because I was so connected to my family and I was living at home. And people at the shelter, like, they weren't connected to family, they didn't have any supports, they didn't have anything.
All of a sudden, she met people like her, sharing rooms with kids with serious mental health issues, struggling with addictions, shooting up in the bed next to her. Lost, like that one night in November.
It was probably one of the scariest moments of my life because I've never actually had been in a place where I didn't know where I was going to go. The shelters were full. My friends at the time couldn't help me out, and it was really scary.
There have been a lot of really scary moments for Keynes, including a year spent using drugs to dull her pain. She was 18.
That was probably one of the roughest times with mental health. It was just a cover-up, really. I needed something to get me through the day. I was addicted to Percocets, opiates. When I first got addicted, I was dating a guy at the time, and he had a lot of money. He was prescribed these drugs, so it was really easily accessible.
Keynes is on a long road managing her mental illness, and she's already overcome so much: homelessness, addiction, being away from her family. But now, for the first time in almost 4 years, she has a stable home to call her own, and she invited me over for move-in day.
Definitely anxiety today, because I'm going to be here by myself, and it's going to be the first time out, so I don't have my roommates here to put me to bed. So yeah, it's going to be different.
But how do you feel now?
I'm excited, but it's definitely going to be something to work for and work on.
You think you can?
Oh yeah, I can do it, especially with the sports that I have now, and I'll be able to do it.
At 21, she's looking at that future, planning to finish high school, go to university, and become a counselor, because, as she says, experience is the best teacher. Megan McCabe, CBC News, St. John's.
Johnny Lynn Keynes says she would still be at home with her family and fortune if Choices for Youth was there. She now relies on their services every day to manage her severe anxiety and depression. But she says the mental health support available near her hometown doesn't cut it, and that's why she moved to St. John's. As for what services are available on the Burin Peninsula, Eastern Health has a team of 7 full-time staff based in Marystown. A psychologist, addiction counselor, youth outreach workers, social workers, and nurses. A nurse visits Grand Bank 1 day a week, and the addiction counselor goes there every 2 weeks.
It's so unfortunate that, you know, when somebody is looking for help, they're not familiar or not aware of the services that exist in their own area. And that's one thing we're hearing very clearly from the community, is that, you know, people aren't aware of our services. So that's something that we're looking at, and how do we better promote our services so that when people need them, they know how to find them.
Former Premier Danny Williams is making headlines again. This time it's over a fuss that's brewing with the city of St. John's over Williams' Galway development. welcome back. We return now to our top story, the dispute that's pitting Galway developer Danny Williams against St. John's Deputy Mayor Ron Ellsworth. At issue is who should pay for a roundabout on the edge of Galway. Williams says the city built the infrastructure around Stavanger Drive in the East End, so it should do the same in the West End near Galway. Here's more of what he said about the roundabout and about Ron Ellsworth, who tabled Williams' letter to the city.
But the problem here is the two sets of rules, and there seems to be two agendas. And that leads me to an even bigger issue. You know, it's the whole issue of the deputy mayor and what his agenda is. I have not spoken out on this publicly and didn't intend to. But now that he's tabled this letter, you know, I'm deeply troubled by the fact that we have a person in the office of deputy mayor there who's involved in major development issues in the city, as he is now. And he's accused of alleged loan sharking activities, which are criminal in nature. So, you know, we have him basically involved allegedly in loaning money to developers in the city, while at the same time he sits on the other side of the table and adjudicates and decides what developments are good and what ones are bad. So if he favours one in the East End, well then he's not favouring one in the West End. There's something very seriously wrong and troubling with that.
And the city says that the decision's been made. I mean, they think that their decision's been made that Galway should pay for this roundabout. And I guess the concern is that they're saying if it's not paid for, they can't issue permits for Galway. What do you say to that?
Well, we have banter back and forth with the city and the city staff and there's a give and take on all of this. But we are building, and we've built 4, and we're building another. So we built 5 roundabouts. This is about a roundabout on the other side of the street, which is on the other side of the highway. So this is not about a roundabout. It's about much bigger issues. It's about equal treatment for the east end of the city and the west end of the city. And the west end, from my opinion, is not getting a fair shake. And as a result, also a question then of what agendas are at play down there. What developers are getting more favorable treatment. I'm not looking for favors. I'm not looking under any circumstances for favors. But again, I wanted to be treated fairly.
Okay, so what is Deputy Mayor Ron Ellsworth saying about Williams' accusations? Well, Ellsworth also spoke with Here and Now's Mark Quinn and explains why he tabled the letter, making it public.
This letter dealt with development regulations and how we work with developers. And there's no reason that shouldn't be a public document.
When Danny Williams was asked about this again today, he brought up some allegations against you, allegations that you were making loans at high rates that he called loan sharking, and he said the rates were criminal. What do you make of that?
When I brought the letter forward yesterday at council, it wasn't something I did knee-jerk, and I fully understood that when I raised an issue that he didn't like, he would be guns a-blazing, coming after me, both barrels, anything he can raise, anything he can detract from this conversation. I will stick to the topic that we're talking about, and that is developers paying for development costs of their projects. And that's the conversation we should be having, rather than let somebody else detract from that conversation.
Regarding the issue at hand, this roundabout, has the city's decision been made on this as far as you're concerned?
As I understand, and this is one of the reasons why I brought it to planning for discussion, one of the challenges I'm faced with as a decision maker is what components, as a developer, agreed to as a part of the development that happened. If this roundabout was agreed to as part of that development, then decision's already been made. It was made when we accepted development. If this item wasn't covered under that development, then we as council need to have a discussion about that and decide how to deal with it. But I understand that it was a part of that development. For me personally, I think really the roundabout is a red herring that's being used by the developer to try and do a thin-edged wedge thing, where if he can get the city to pay for the roundabout at $100,000, then all the other large items that he's got to do with the overpasses, widening the Trans-Canada Highway, etc., at millions of dollars, then he'll use that as a precedent to come back to us to want us to fund the other projects also. And that's one of my fears, that we could be on the hook for millions of dollars if this happens.
The weather update is brought to you by Belltone Hearing Service St. John's, helping the world hear better.
As we could just see with that interview, beautiful day in St. John's that even felt a tiny bit warm, but there's a lot of sea ice around.
Yeah.
It's going to keep it cool.
Well, yeah, it's all, of course, the wind direction. And today, again, bit of a sea breeze, less so tomorrow. But again, the sun helps no matter sea breeze or not. And the sun also helps with clear skies to get a nice snapshot from space. And have a look at this.
my, it's
This
so
is
clear.
Yeah,
Nice.
definitely. This is the NASA's MODIS satellite, which again takes a snapshot every day. Not every day is clear like this, though. A couple things I want to point out. First, into Labrador, and have a look. Lake Melville starting to finally break up. That ice is starting to, yes, well, a couple 20-degree days will do that, but Lake Melville there starting to break up, so some progress there. That's some good news. We'll now move down to the Strait. You can see that Strait of Belle Isle packed with ice, and hopefully that southwest wind over today and tomorrow will help to draw some of that out. Of course, White Bay, Notre Dame Bay, jam-packed here. That is just solid sea ice, and obviously that's going to take a while to clear out there. The other ice that's notable here is down the west side of Trinity Bay, all the way down towards the Bull Arm area, so obviously the Hebron tow out waiting on this ice as well. So some pretty great shots from space to show us what we're dealing with for the ice concerns across the province. A wicked Wednesday shaping up, more southwest winds. That will help to break some of that sea ice out back out towards the North Atlantic. Showers will be rolling in starting tomorrow, but more so for Thursday, and the mild temperatures are sticking around, so that's the good news. While we will start to see that sunshine fade away over the next couple days, the warm temps aren't going anywhere. Here's how it plays out there. Those showers into Labrador City through tomorrow, a late day risk in Happy Valley Goose Bay, also the Northern Peninsula and the Straits, a late day risk there, but for the most part through the daytime hours, we're looking very nice across the island tomorrow. Inland temps into the 20s. Note the south winds that will be, yes, in that 7 to 8 degree range for tomorrow. And as we roll into the Labrador region, note 14 in Lab City with those showers there. As I mentioned, that late day risk of a shower in Happy Valley Goose Bay, and an evening risk into the Straits as that warm front starts to push in. Note the showers that will become more frequent for Thursday over western Newfoundland. Those will scale up into central through the Thursday afternoon time period. I think the Avalon itself stays dry until about this time into the evening hours, but certainly the clouds increasing through the day. But note 14, 15, 16 degrees across the island, and also into Labrador with those showers that will be spotty in Happy Valley Goose Bay, more so persistent in Labrador City. Rolling into Friday, this front becomes occluded, which generally will just keep things unsettled across the region on Friday. More shower chances once again in that 14 to 16 degree range. A little cooler in Labrador, but still hanging on to the double digits. I think we'll hang on to the warm air for Saturday, and then that wind will shift on Sunday, which will be dropping our temperatures back into the single digits, but some progress into the early stages of next week. And should also mention those showers on Saturday, far from a washout. May even see some sun breaks in central and east. And there is your forecast in Labrador, which again, lots of showers, which I guess is good to melt the snow. Warm temps too.
Well, our young athlete of the day is a hockey player from the Grand Falls, Windsor area. 9-year-old Emma Bishop is on not one, but two teams.
Yes, she plays the defense position for the under-12 female Cataracts, as well as the Adam B. Rep team. And once baseball season starts, Emma will be on the field.
Congratulations, Emma, on being chosen as today's young athlete of the day.
Dealing with addiction. I'm Mariana Kelland, live at the Gathering Place, and coming up after the break, meet two people who often see the worst of addiction. That's coming up.
We're going to head back to downtown St. John's now. The Gathering Place sees the worst of addiction and homelessness. The center acts as a safe haven for hundreds every day. And that's where the Here and Now's Ariana Kellen is tonight. Ariana.
Thanks, Debbie. Well, as you said, the Gathering Place in downtown St. John's often sees people with addiction on a daily basis. And that's part of the reason why we are having our live discussion on addiction and recovery and how to deal with opioids here following Here and Now on our CBC NL Facebook page. But right now I'm joined by Joanne Thompson, who's the executive director of the Gathering Place. And Joanne, we have spoken in the past about addiction. Give me a sense of what you're seeing here.
Well, sadly, you know, we do exist very much street level, so we do see an increase in drug usage among the guests. We see an increase very much in desperation for treatment. I think the initiative by the government is wonderful whenever we have an opportunity to engage in conversation, particularly as a community. I think it's always a wonderful step forward. I would like to see a continuation in the dialogue on access to addictions treatments, counseling, and certainly for Gathering Place, always access to mental health services.
And one of the biggest challenges for people at the Gathering Place is housing. And this is where we're going to bring Kieran O'Connell. He helps people find housing arrangements, sometimes with not a lot of time to spare. So what's the biggest challenge when it comes to finding someone housing if they are trying to recover?
Well, oftentimes it's not as straightforward as just renting an apartment and holding on to it. So in a lot of people's cases, you know, it's more an issue of being able to hold on to the housing once you get in there. So what we would like to see, I guess, is more supports for people once they get into housing and less wait lists and more access to these kinds of services that would help people get stable and be able to keep their own housing.
And these are some of the issues that we will be speaking of right after Here and Now, 7 o'clock on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/CBCNL, and we hope to join you there. Reporting live for Here and Now, I'm Ariana Kellen in St. John's. Ariana Grande has now set a date for the charity concert dedicated to the victims of the Manchester attack. And she'll be joined by Justin Bieber, Coldplay, Katy Perry, and Pharrell Williams. The One Love Manchester show will be held at the Old Trafford. Proceeds from the show will go to an emergency fund set up by the City of Manchester and the Red Cross. 22 people were killed and more than 100 were injured in the Manchester attack last Monday.
Some video to show you now, and here's taking a pre-game ceremony to new heights. Oh dear. The game ball for the Portuguese Cup final was delivered by a man flying on a hoverboard. Doesn't seem like the safest way to start a match, but it's certainly the most entertaining way. And for those of you wondering, Benfica beat Vitória 2-1.
Just like Back to the Future too. Just like it.
Oh,
He just needs
look at the thousands upon thousands there.
Cool. Well, let's take one last look at the osprey nest we told you about earlier.
Oh, and you just missed it.
Yeah, we were just looking at a great shot of it.
Yeah, this is live, and about a minute ago, the other osprey was there, flew away, and we could see the 3 eggs so clearly. Now, this nest, a reminder, is near Newfoundland Power Substation in Virginia Waters area.
That's right. You can check out the osprey nest cam by going to the newfoundlandpower.com website. You see there at the bottom of your screen. As we mentioned, currently 3 eggs, and we just saw them. Great view there as Mom flew away and Dad took over there on the nest. So pretty cool stuff. Should mention, by the way, it takes 3 to 5 weeks, we hear, for those eggs to hatch. So we'll be keeping you posted on that here on the show. Great day for sitting on some eggs tomorrow for those ospreys with 16 in the metro region. Again, really nice day, lots of sunshine. Should get to 20 degrees for inland areas, especially central Newfoundland, back towards Happy Valley Goose Bay near 18. And have a look at this from last night, actually 2 a.m. this morning. That's what you gotta love with these photographers who have the dedication to go out there in the middle of the night and take a shot like this at 2 a.m.
Wow.
Beautiful northern lights. This was taken in Pasadena by Greg March. And you can find more pictures like that and post them on my Facebook page and my Instagram feed.
Just keep them coming. We don't get tired of those
Definitely
shots.
not.
Thanks very much for being with us, everyone, and we'll see you here tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.